was scrapped, and that means victims and the public will not get to vote on it for another 2 years at the very least. Doug Mastriano is a Pennsylvania state senator and retired Army colonel, joining us live to weigh in on this very topic. Sir, good to see you, and thanks so much for coming on. If you could just explain this to us. This made some headlines here nationally, and obviously there in your state. What do you make of it?
Yeah, we were trying to seek a way for people in Pennsylvania to find justice, those abused in a church or in Boy Scouts or what have you. And the statute of limitations ran off. So we're doing a constitutional amendment to add 2 years for people to file lawsuits. And of course, our Secretary of State, the same one that oversaw the elections in Pennsylvania, make your own judgments on that. But she had basically one job simply after we passed that in the House and Senate, 2-year process that she has to advertise it by law. And she completely failed to do that. And I have no reason or understanding why she would do that. But all I do know it's catastrophic for the victims. And this falls on the head of the Wolf administration that continuously impresses me about how incompetent they are and can't even do the basic job to serve the people. You know, we deserve better in Pennsylvania. This is an easy thing. Should have been an automatic thing for a staffer to say we have to buy, per the Constitution, advertisement time so the people will have an opportunity to decide whether they're going to vote for candidates that support or don't support the amendment.
So what is next? There are a couple ways this story will go. Obviously, concern for the victims and what will happen with them. And I know you just mentioned that there's still some hope there for that. As far as the Secretary of State, if she steps down, who steps up?
Yeah, so there is a replacement in the wings from North Carolina, and she has just as a dubious record, sadly, as our Secretary of State, Boockvar. This is not partisan for me. I'm just looking for people who can get the job done properly. And clearly, Boockvar was the wrong person for the job, and I'm afraid the next person that Wolf has in line doesn't have the credentials or experience to do so as well. As far as the way ahead, there's a couple options, but the most viable and most likely option is to restart this whole constitutional process, remembering that Wolf and his Democrat administration ruined it for the victims last go around. That's a fact. Or we could try a legislative endeavor, but I don't know that will stand up before the Pennsylvania Supreme Court.
All right. Let's move forward and talk about this divide that's happening that at least we're seeing with the Republican Party. Just interested to get your take on this, and I'll show you this. McConnell issued a statement this week about Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. He said this: loony lies and conspiracy theories are cancer for the Republican Party and our country. Somebody who suggested that perhaps no airplane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, that horrifying school shootings were pre-staged, and that the Clintons crashed JFK Jr.'s airplane is not really living in reality. Now we're hearing more that Leader McCarthy is in talks now with top Democrats about stripping Green from one of her committee assignments in her freshman class. So why are Republicans like McCarthy going along with this, especially when Democrats did nothing but have concerns about did not have concerns about Congressman Swalwell, who was linked to a Chinese spy, Fang Fang, still sits on the Intel Committee. But then you see what's happening against Marjorie Taylor Greene. You're trying to follow the breadcrumbs, and it doesn't match the other side.
I'm just wondering what Mitch McConnell's doing, sticking his nose in House business. He's over in the Senate, right? So, and additionally, this does us no good by the inconsistency. As you rightly pointed out, the Democrats have, a closet full of disasters there. To imagine you have somebody on the Intelligence Committee in the House, and the guy is literally compromised with a spy. I'm a former military intelligence officer, 30 years in uniform with a top secret clearance. Could you imagine what would happen if that was a Republican? The press and the Democrats would have breathless reporting and condemnations, and the Republicans wouldn't stand it. They'd push that guy out. But of course, it's always different for the Democrats. They get the call for violence. They get to participate in violence. Kamala Harris even offered to spring from jail those that were hauled off in this past summer's troubles in some of the Democrat cities. And so we're tired of the double standard. Mitch McConnell needs to back down a bit here and know where his lane is. He's trying to assert himself in a place where he doesn't belong. He's not a good natural leader. Yes, he did well underneath Donald Trump, but he needs to be led because he's too close to the swamp, and he doesn't seem to understand the people of this nation. We're not full of all that. I think he looks across the fruited plain and sees that most Republicans might be thinking that way. We're not. We're logical people. We're hardworking people, and we want leaders who are going to be honest and look out for us and not look out for their own swampish ambitions.
Let me move on to this because you mentioned your military background, and thank you for your service, by the way. You are a retired Army colonel. I want to get your reaction to this. This happened yesterday. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki appearing to mock Space Force.
The president has made a decision on keeping the scope of Space Force.
Wow, Space Force. It's the plane of today. It is an interesting question. I am happy to check with our Space Force point of contact. I'm not sure who that is. I will find out and see if we have any update on that.
Now, just to be fair, she did try to clean up those comments with this tweet later on saying, quote, "We look forward to continuing work of Space Force and invite the members of the team to come visit us in the briefing room anytime to share an update on their important work," end quote. But clearly, she heard the criticism. What do you make of that?
I think she needs to circle back on that one. I mean, really, I saw her during the Obama administration when I was still in uniform, and she had a general disdain for anything military. Anytime I'd see her speaking at Department of State down the street from there. And this just comes out, so she not only is mocking the Space Force because it's born forth in the Trump administration, but she doesn't obviously understand how important it is that that's another plane, that's another area that we have to dominate in any future wars. So, yeah, Jen, circle back, maybe learn a little bit about that, and you'll be a better person. On the other side here, while we're dealing with all this drama around, we're still under siege as far as the big tech. I know this is off topic a bit here, but one of my county pages down the street in Gettysburg, Twitter and Facebook just shut them down, and they don't post any edgy conspiratorial things. So I just feel like right now is a dark time in America, and I'm asking fellow conservatives, just stand strong. We're going to get through this okay.
What is the name of the place that got shut down so I can look it up?
It's the Adams County Republican page right out of Gettysburg, and they've reached out to me saying, "Hey, what do we do?" And I'm like, just like when Twitter shut me down, there's not a lot you can do. We have no recourse and power, and it's very aggravating. Why can't our voices be out there just like everyone else's? I get it if it's too edgy or controversial or threatening, but their page is clean, just like mine is. We're very careful about what we post, so we need our freedoms back.
You're going to have to get one of those birds and put a little letter in it and send it off. It's the only option you got left there. Just joking. Doug Mastriano, good to see you, though. Thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate it as always.
Thank you. I do appreciate it, too. God bless.